Excellent. Naughty. Surprise. But sex. 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 But sex.
Hello. How are we all? I've moved my camera. My hair is just being real weird, which is probably because of just a really weird hairline. And that's it. Hello, Glitter Crab. Hello, Lisa. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to go over some of the usual stuff. And then we're going to dip over to my new channel, where new, strange things are going to take place. That's going to largely be my philosophy and politics channel, or my philosophy and theory channel, but hard philosophy and theory. This is going to be the general channel, where the stuff will happen. That's my way of balancing everybody out. Now, reminder, this channel is demonetized. If you would like to support the channel financially, you can join my Patreon, and/or Nightbot is posting a stream elements link into the chat. If you donate there, it will be read out by TTS. Like follows.
Connor tipped $3.33. Hermink Colonel, I'm trying to sneak around but I'm dummy thick and the clap from my ass cheeks keeps alerting the alien.
Beautiful. That should have been the squid one, but I haven't adjusted it yet. I have to adjust it every single time I switch channels. But yeah. So you're saying it's going to go from soft to hard? Exactly.
Lisa is a blogger tipped $3.33. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Lisa. You should make a YouTube video playlist of your waiting music because it's mostly bangers. I'll post a link in the chat and the Discord. Okay. We've got some Noah Samson stuff to cover, which I know everybody's thrilled about. But actually, it seems kind of both vile and stupid in a rather fascinating way. I'm not going to dwell too much on it, but we are going to watch it. Actually worked. Oh my god. So, in retaliation for Noah Samson correctly classifying Ethan Klein as a ghoul from Fallout 3, but also as a... Dear God, what is going on with that face? But also as a genocide supporter, tacitly, quietly, insidiously, cowardly. He has, following this, had his character attacked by Ethan, calling him a creep. Now, I'm not entirely sure what the basis of this is, and we are going to find out together. But before we do, some preliminaries. I don't care. Because the fact of the matter is, the video that he made that he's reacting to doesn't depend on Noah's character. It does have problems. In fact, I have some very serious problems with Noah's video, but it's not with his treatment of the YouTubers that he engages with. He seemed to be more or less right on the money with virtually every single person he included. The main issue that I had was to do with this strange investment that a lot of online leftists seem to have recently, with characterizing Israel as being 100% populated by pro-genocide fascist maniacs. And there are reasons for why this is seductive to a certain kind of person. It widens the range of things that you can be angry towards, which is somewhat satisfying. Especially if you're feeling powerless because of how hopeless the situation is. Deciding that, well, it's just the situation's just too stacked against me. It's too hopeless. That can feel a little bit better. And also, there is a deep desire to hate Israelis. You know, they're statists. They're in a colonial state. A whole bunch of sentences starting with they. It doesn't really take into account the actual, like, specific experience, humanity, and vulnerability to particular types of indoctrination, and so on and so forth, that people in Israel are subjected to. But there's an additional issue behind this, and it's not to do with the resentment-fueled motives behind wanting to engage in that sort of anti-Israeli / frequently veiled anti-Semitism by proxy thing that's going on there. It has to do with the fact that actually I think there's a serious undermining quality to this move. It is distinctly a possibility that the population of any state at any given time is overwhelmingly in favor of some horrible thing that state is doing. That has been the case. Nazi Germany is a great example of this. However, under such conditions, one has to be a little bit careful. Because with the benefit of being removed from that situation, we're also removed from the closeness of the emotional attachment to the issue. To clarify what I mean. Oh, thank you very much.
Combfair tipped
Fair, thank you.
$4.20. 1. Very excited to see what your twin does. 2. You should make a playlist of your stream intro music. 3. The Discord link hasn't worked for weeks. Can you please update it? Thanks.
I update it literally every stream. I don't know why on earth it still doesn't work. Cal, can you post a new link in the chat, please? To clarify what I mean. When Noah Samson claims that the majority of people in Israel, in his video, the overwhelming majority, something like 90%, are excited and excitedly endorse the genocide of the Palestinian Arabs, he uses a statistical source for this. It is a data-driven statement. Here's the problem. It comes from a website, from an organization that is constantly plugging pro-Zionist propaganda. And here's the thing. If you are an Israeli nationalist in 2025 and you endorse the violent destruction of the Palestinians in Gaza, you are invested in that being the correct position. You are invested in that being the popular position, which means you don't need to interrogate whether it's the correct position, so you can just assume it's the correct position forever. You are invested in producing data that confirms your beliefs and confirms you in the security of your beliefs. Which is why when I looked at the methodology, I was perplexed and suspicious, because the study that shows that the vast majority of Israeli citizens approve what Israel is doing asked those questions in Hebrew. Number one, didn't specify how many of the people being questioned were men or women. Issue 2, didn't mention their age. Issue 3, didn't mention region. Issue 4. In short, it's selected for the kinds of people who would be subjected to particular kinds of cultural influences, ignored others by definition because the questions were asked in Hebrew. We can't see what the questions mean in Hebrew, so there's an error, there's a complication in translating what the actual survey is asking of questioners. The questions themselves are often very vague. And more to the point, we don't know if there are generational slants in this data. We don't know if there are gendered slants in this data. We don't know if there are religious slants in this data. We don't know point of origin. Like, there are so many things that we just don't understand as a result of this data, but it's useful for two people. For two kinds of people. It's useful for a nationalist who wants to give the impression that people who are critical of Israel's activity in Gaza and the West Bank are hopelessly outnumbered and should stay silent. And it helps people like Noah Samson to benefit from the mass resentment of increasingly powerless left-wingers on the internet who are seeing horrible things happening and want someone to blame, but have nothing they can do to actually, respond to it materially. There's nothing they can do. They're too weak. And the person who gets hurt in this is the Israeli dissident who opposes the genocide. Those people get beaten down on both fronts. International support shrivels. Why? Because now all of Israel is demonized through this. And domestically, everyone stays quiet. There's actually an example of this exact kind of thing happening in Nazi Germany, oddly enough, among communists. Social Democrats made up I think it was roughly 1/3 of the vote. I can't remember exactly. They were close runners up to the Nazis, though. And when Hitler came into power, they started brutalizing communists in particular. That was the first target, communists. Communists and socialists. Communists and socialists. And there was this overwhelming sense, first of all, distrust, of course, between the Social Democrats and the Communists, but there was this overwhelming sense that their numbers were simply too small, which was true. But as a consequence of this knowledge that their numbers were small, the Social Democrats didn't dare branch out from anything that would not be legal and therefore provoke violence by the Nazi state against them in particular. And the communists were almost entirely dissuaded from trying to engage in any kind of general strike action. Now, both of which would have been futile. The point is not that it would have worked. The point is that this works. Demoralizing a minority resistant political position works. It tells them that you are too weak to resist. If you resist, you will die. Therefore, don't resist. And they follow suit. Now, if you can attain that without having to actually brutalize them in the streets, which would not be the case for Israel so far, because they have, the Israeli state has, the police have, I should say. That's ideal. You've suppressed your political opposition on the cheap. And that's what's going on. So my issue with Noah Samson's video is actually very serious, but it has nothing to do with Noah Samson being a creep personally. I don't know. I don't. As far as this issue is concerned, I don't care. If Noah Samson's doing bad things to other people, that's not good and that's not okay. But as far as like that video is concerned, it just really isn't material to the issue at hand. There's bigger things. There's bigger things to be concerned about. Oh, Monkey and Duck Nano will be on the channel, don't worry. But they will be translated. They will be translated back in time to a better time, the 90s, the late 90s. So we're gonna jump into this a little bit because this is a massive cope and a massive distraction. First of all, it's stupid. Noah Samson, retract your lawyer up. First of all, good luck with that. Sincerely, good luck with that. Good luck with that, Ethan. Noah Samson will be supported financially in whatever legal action he gets taken up on, and it is extraordinarily difficult to sue someone for defamation who is a major public figure. Oh, thank you so much.
Glitter Crab tipped $3.33. Wondering if you'll talk about Trump officially putting tariffs in place on the world today, though I don't know how much there is to say.
We actually talked about that on... Oh, there's... It's funny. It's very funny. What was the... We talked about that on In the Fold yesterday, but... He put tariffs on an uninhabited island. It's just wonderful. Nowhere on Earth is safe. Trump imposes tariffs on uninhabited islands near Antarctica. Heard Island and McDonald Islands are among several external territories of Australia listed separately in the tariff list to Australia, which will see a 10% tariff imposed on its goods. What this tells you is that the tariffs are blanket, A, so it's a little less funny for that reason, but B, they are not calculated at all. Why? Because they don't understand the economy, like basics of the economy. They don't understand how the economy works. It's not even a matter of not understanding the details of like the particular trade relation with any particular country or state or whatever. They literally don't understand how it works, because this is what a tariff is. It's a self-imposed sanction. You are making it so that products that come to your country are more expensive, in the hope that it will encourage people to buy domestically. Now, here's the problem. What if there isn't a domestic alternative? And what if you rely on those trades? What if your industries rely on those trades in order to actually cheapen their acquisition of goods? And you haven't paid attention to that dynamic, so that as a consequence, costs ripple down the chain and everything is more expensive. It's actually unreal. Just how stupid this is. This is the last election in a nutshell, okay? I will make groceries cheaper. That's my Harris impression, okay? It's the best I can do. My voice is like a lawnmower. It's all I can do for you, okay? Right-wingers. Left-wingers. Tepidly. Yay, I think. I will make everything more expensive. Right-wingers. Ooh, left-wingers. I will help kill thousands of innocent children in Gaza. Left-wingers. Right-wingers. Trump. I'll kill them faster. Left-wingers. Yay! That's where we're at. The center can't hold, it's too dumb. Fuck you, Herd Island. Fuck you, Penguins. By the way, proof at the very least that Trump is a learned and well-read fan of Lovecraft, who also was a racist who hated penguins. But I digress. We are looking at this video. Noah Sampson, retractor lawyer up, but first we are looking at him being a massive creep. Posted by what looks very much like a massive creep.
2 times. Thank you.
You're so sweet.
It's pretty good.
Oh, you too.
I felt bad doing it, but I was like, well...
He's looking so rough. What on earth? What on earth is this? Why do you look like a... Why do you look like a rock star in the final photos before they die of an overdose? Ray shares her story. Who is Ray? Where is this? Noah Sampson. Here we go. Right in the middle here. Noah Sampson exposed as a creep.
Oh, she's in the call?
Mhm.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm very good. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, thank you for giving me the platform to talk about this.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's start off. How did you meet? Or I guess let's start by asking, like, why is it that you're calling in? Like, why now? And like, why are you calling in to talk
Well, because you sought me out and you asked me to, Ethan.
about him? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why would an ex-girlfriend be going on to H3's podcast in the first place if they weren't asked to? It wouldn't make any sense. How would they even get through? Wouldn't make any sense.
I think I just want to my message I want to get across is that people are not the way they be presenting online.
Oh, I strongly disagree. I think Ethan is exactly the way he presents online.
At the time, Noah was making a lot of content geared towards like toxic masculinity and the manosphere, and he just felt like a man that I could trust. But
Just to be clear, by the way, this is a tale as old as time. The male feminist icon ends up being a major sexual creep behind the scenes. I'm not surprised by any of this. I also don't necessarily believe any of it out of hand. I need to... There are a million different things feeding into this thing. So I'm gonna be scrutinizing of this in a way that I don't generally advise people are, just because of the conditions surrounding this. This is clearly being weaponized politically by a very cynical man, and that rubs me the wrong way. So, right off the bat, we have reasons to be suspicious of the context of all of this. I'm going to be paying attention for stuff that is anchoring.
in the end, I mean, he did some shitty things that I don't think is very feminist of him. So that's kind of my point. And just like the things that he's been doing online, you know, he's presenting himself a certain way, but that's my...
Ethan has Tourette's syndrome. This is why he keeps sniffing and has the tics. I've heard that Ozempic makes tics with Tourette's a lot worse, and he's very clearly been on something of that sort. Hang on one sec. Grabbing my own substance. I feel like I'm gonna need it. Alright, here we go. You're a bit quiet and the vid's a bit loud? Well, let's fix that, shall we? That's no good.
might not be exactly who he is.
He definitely presents himself as like this the moral arbiter, and he talks so softly, and he's got a little mustache, you know. But yeah, he definitely
A little mustache makes you think more ice cream truck driver than moral arbiter, but fair.
I hate to say it, but it seems like a lot of these guys who are these outwardly feminist like tryhards. I don't know what to call it, but like they end up being kind of sleazy.
Really? Really, Ethan, huh? Really? Okay. This reminds me of something. This reminds me of something. By a certain Georgie.
With that shit, boy. Could smell it from here. Shit.
No,
This is Ethan
Like,
Klein
have to.
talking about a rape victim, okay? Or talking about a victim, not a rape victim, a victim of the Boston bombing.
Censor.
and very deep and poetic. But what's even more interesting is if we just go a couple pixels down. Boom. That's some good camel toe, girl.
So, while Ethan is technically correct in this statement, unfortunately it appears as though he has arrived at his correct conclusion as a result of deep personal experience.
Yeah, that was
Isn't she also underage? I've heard people talk about that. I don't know. I don't know.
what I learned from this.
Look,
All right.
nobody... Good God, Ethan. Nobody in this interaction is wedded to the truth, okay? About the details. I'm a details guy. That's why my audience is small. These aren't details people. Dear God, you look like frickin' Marlon Brando near the end.
All right, so how did you meet him?
We met on a dating app.
What beer you got, sir? Does this look like beer to you? It's red.
And I did not know who he was at the time that we matched.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't. On our first date, the first time we met in person, that's when I found out what he did for work.
Okay. And
And you continued to date him afterwards. That's commitment.
when was this? How recently was this? Can I? If by the way, if I ask something you don't want to answer, just say so, and I'll move right along.
Yeah, this was a few years ago.
Okay, so somewhat recently.
Yeah.
And so you guys met on the app. You guys, what happened from there?
Yeah, we met on the app and we, met in person and had a couple dates.
Dates are delicious.
And then, do we want to just dive into the subject?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the times we were hooking up, we just didn't have any condoms, so I wanted to have a serious conversation about that before I just dove into doing something. First, we both were in agreement that, like, this is casual. We didn't want anything serious. I was coming out of a really toxic 3-year-long relationship, so I was not looking for anything serious. So the expectation wasn't that we were exclusively dating each other. But when we were talking about hooking up without protection, I just wanted to make sure that, that there's open communication. If, we can date other people, but if we are going to hook up with other people, that needs to be a conversation that we need to have just for my
Fair. Actually responsible. Good.
own health and safety.
Just to summarize, you guys are having unprotected sex, even though you're not like in a committed relationship. You've expressed, and obviously, I feel like this is even self-obvious. I don't even think you necessarily need to say anything for this to be true. But you told him, listen, since we're having unprotected sex, if you're sleeping with other people, you need to tell me.
Exactly. Yeah. We the first 2 times we hooked up, it was protected, and then it was just one of those times that we didn't have anything. And before we even did anything, I made sure that, like, I was very, very clear about my expectations and my boundaries. And it was that, if we are going to have sex with other people, it needs to be talked about with each other.
Of course, the concern being that he's having other unprotected sex with other women, and then all of a sudden, all of his sexual partners are becoming like essentially your sexual partners in some way, because whatever they've got, he's going to pick up and he's going to bring it back to you.
Thank you for explaining that to us, Ethan. Like children. Thank you.
Exactly. And like at this time, I had watched a lot of his content, like after he told me what he did for work. And so, unfortunately, I the content he was making kind of made me trust that when he said, yeah, like, well, I'll communicate this with you, that I believed him. I had no reason not to. But yeah, that was like I know I had that conversation with him 2 times before I had found out that that was not what was happening.
So that was the first time. What happened the second time?
The second time was just, I don't know, I felt the need to clarify again, just so that we were on the same page.
Sure, yeah.
I didn't want there to be any room for confusion, and I was just wanting to like have a check-in. And so I brought up the same exact points, like if we're sleeping with other people, we need to talk about it. It's fine if you're dating others, but please, for my health and safety, let me know. And again, it was like, yeah, of course, I'll talk. Like, I will talk about that if and when the time comes.
It sounds
at least like back your nose away from the microphone, dude.
You did a really good job of expressing your boundaries to him, which I think is commendable. It's a really good habit.
Well, actually, she didn't say that she did a good job of expressing her boundaries. What she said was these are the terms. Now, whether or not they were expressed correctly is a separate question, which is actually kind of important. If that wasn't actually expressed correctly, or if that was inferred by implication, or if that was assumed, that's a problem. One of the problems here is that this is one of those issues where it's like, unless there's documentary proof of this exchange, maybe there is. If there is, then that simplifies things greatly, and I hope there is in this case. It really does just become, can I find someone who's willing to say something with plausible deniability about this person who's attacking me publicly? This is one of the reasons, again, by the way, just to remind people who are confused by this. You are required, ethically, to believe victims when they come to you in private and avow that they did something or that something happened to them. Okay? Something happened to them, not they did something. When someone makes this a public statement, that's a different story, because the act of going public is not identical with the act of talking about someone's victimhood. The act of saying it publicly is putting it out into the public sphere as a piece, as something that is now doing things independently of itself. It now is a claim. And in that setting, under those circumstances, actually just taking it as fact out of hand is very irresponsible. Oh, that was a subscription. Why is it announcing subscriptions? I don't need that. That's actually very irresponsible, because now the weaponization of accusations is actually being facilitated by a dogmatic ethical obligation to just believe every claim of a particular kind, which is a mistake. The reason why you believe victims in private is so you don't deter them from seeking help, and you encourage them to seek help, and you are of an attitude to help them find help. It does not mean that so long as a claim is laced with a claim of sexual assault, that therefore it becomes de facto true. That is foolish. No, we're not remonetized. In order to support the channel financially, you have to go to become a patron. Thank you very much, by the way, for everyone who is a patron. I'm relying on you right now. Thank you. And or there is a Stream Elements link being posted in the chat by Nightbot. You can have your super chats read out by TTS that way. Stream Elements is actually superior to YouTube super chats because I get most of the money as opposed to YouTube taking a 30% cut.
It's a really good
Sorry, the squeaks are this old ass desk that needs to get replaced.
I do.
Thank you. I looking back, I think I might have been a little silly to trust somebody I hardly knew, but I am proud of myself for how I stuck up for my boundaries.
And so you told him this twice. You guys were having a romantic connection. For how long did that go on?
Like in total?
Yeah.
We were probably seeing each other for like 2 or 3 months in total. It gets a little spotty because like he honestly started to ghost me and like not really respond to my messages. But then in between.
Whoa, what's this?
In total.
How long did that go on? And so you told him this twice. You guys.
This is an important detail. So I told him this twice. Okay.
We're having you guys were having a romantic connection. For how long did that go on?
Like in total?
Yeah.
We were probably seeing each other for like 2 or 3 months in total.
That's not very long.
It gets a little spotty because like he honestly
It gets spotty in 2 or 3 months.
started to ghost me and like not really respond to my messages. But then in between the ghosting, he would do like really nice things for me.
Over 2 or 3 months. He would ghost you over 2 or 3 months. Well, this is a casual thing that isn't serious. A picture's being painted in my head.
Which made me kind of confused about what was going on.
What kind of nice things did he do?
He has a bunch of like camera and mic equipment, obviously. So I was an acting major at the time, and he ended up like setting up all of his equipment so that I could film self-tapes for an audition. Near the end of us talking, he came to my show. He was with me on my birthday, just things like that.
So at a certain point here, you find out that seemingly he was not being honest with you about his monogamy.
Right.
His monogamy? She just said he ghosted her. In a casual relationship that didn't last 2 or 3 months.
That was, once again, I just brought it up for a third time, and if I'm honest, I was experiencing some symptoms that I was worried about.
So you even had like an STD.
She didn't even say no hookups. She said if they had hookups with people unprotected, then they had to have the conversation. So that was the expectation was non-monogamy. That was the presumption.
Scare is what prompted you to ask him, like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, everything ended up being fine. I think I just have an anxious mind when it comes to things like that, so I was just worried. But yeah, I for the third.
From what I understand, she was wanting to disclose people he was sleeping with, and he didn't. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Rick tipped $6.90. Subscribe to In the Fold, or each H3 sniff will be accompanied by a desk squeak.
Thank you.
On the third time, I brought it up to him because I was worried that something was happening. And this was like the first time out of all 3 of these conversations that he...
But this wasn't monogamy. It was if they're sleeping with other people, they need to... I'm going to have to review that because you're casting down my memory now, which is fine. If they slept with other people, at the very least, they would have to have a conversation. Now, if they broke off communication in the midst of a 2 to 3 month long relationship, I don't know. This doesn't strike me as the same thing. It strikes me as this is a person he got involved with casually, realized he made a mistake, and backed out from, and or just didn't want to continue engaging because they think they met on an app or something. And then what? Interacted again later. I'm
was kind of surprised by what I was.
Why do people think casual means 0 obligations? I don't know. Casual doesn't mean 0 obligations. You have tons of obligations to casual relationships. In fact, you have some obligations to casual relationships that you don't have to non-casual relationships. Non-casual relationships, serious ones, might have like permanent understandings. Like you establish something rock solid, and then it's like, okay, this is how it is going forward, kind of thing, and you're kind of fine with that. Casual ones, you have to constantly inform people of details. Because it's not just a one-for-all kind of thing. It's very rare that there are one-for-all kinds of things, even in stable, serious relationships. But it's like there are benefits that you get from stability that you don't have in casual relationships. Making sure the other party is informed at all times is a much more onerous task if you're being responsible in a casual relationship.
Asking. What he had said was that he thought that he couldn't hook up with anybody new. So anybody he met after me.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's what I thought too.
Hang on, say again.
3 of these conversations that he was kind of surprised by what I was asking. What he had said was that he thought that he couldn't hook up with anybody new. So anybody he met after me.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's what I thought too.
Listen, it's self-apparent that You can't be.
It's self-evident, Ethan. He said self-obvious and self-apparent. Self-evident, man.
You can't be having unprotected sex with multiple people, like especially if you're not communicating. That's just.
Was that hang on, I didn't hear that being established. Where was this established?
Looking back, I think I might have been a little silly to trust somebody I hardly knew, but I am proud of myself for how I stuck up for my boundaries.
And so you told him this twice. You guys were having a romantic connection. For how long did that go on?
Like in total?
Yeah.
We were probably seeing each other for like 2 or 3 months in total. It gets a little spotty because like he honestly started to ghost me and like not really respond to my messages. But then in between the ghosting, he would do like really nice things for me, which made me kind of confused about what was going on.
What kind of nice things did he do?
He has a bunch of like camera and mic equipment, obviously. He came to my show. He was with me on my birthday. Just things like that.
So at a certain point here, you find out that seemingly he was not being honest with you about his.
I'm sorry. The snips when it's sped up are just so insane.
His monogamy.
Right. That was, once again, I just brought it up for a third time, and if I'm honest, I was experiencing some symptoms that I was worried about.
So you even had like
go.
an STD scare is what prompted you to ask him like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah,
Here we go.
I mean,
this is what we paused over, so I need to hear this clearly.
And everything ended up being fine. I think I just have an anxious mind when it comes to things like that, so I was just worried. But yeah, I for the on the third time I brought it up to him because I was worried that something was happening, and this was like the first time out of all 3 of these conversations that he was kind of surprised by what I was asking. What he had said was that he thought that he couldn't hook up with anybody new. So anybody he met after me.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It actually hasn't been established that he did anything yet. So this conversation seems... Ethan is responding as if he already knows what Noah Samson did. But at this point, there actually hasn't been a clear statement that he was having unprotected sex with other people or having undisclosed sex with other people. Now, that may be forthcoming, but this tells me this conversation was premeditated. As in, they rehearsed this. They talked about this before.
That's what I thought, too.
Listen, it's self-apparent that you can't be having unprotected sex with multiple people, like especially.
This was not said. It was not said that he had unprotected sex with multiple people yet, so they've rehearsed this conversation.
If you're not communicating, that's disgusting. I mean, it's just gross.
Yeah.
It's really, and it's super disrespectful, and dangerous, frankly, too.
Yeah, that's the disrespectful part. That's the okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If I'm honest, I felt kind of I was in his bed when we had this conversation. It was like a really calm conversation. There was no like yelling or fighting or anything, but I don't know. I felt icky and like used, I guess.
Yeah. So what is it that happened then? You said, hey, just so I'm having these symptoms. You say you're not sleeping with anyone else. Like, did
anyone else catch that? Did anybody else catch that? I don't know how this is going to play out, but like, you told Noah Samson about possible symptoms of an STD, and you told him this while you were in his bed. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Oh, God.
is that still true? And he says, oh, I thought you meant nobody knew. What does that mean?
That means, according to him, he had been sleeping with people he had known prior to meeting me. And he had said, like, oh, but it's fine because these are all, you know, people I trust.
That's
and I had
crazy.
to explain to him, and mind you, I'm a few years younger than him.
Okay.
I had to explain to
Are you both adults? If you're both adults, if you're both over 20, I don't care.
this man that that's not exactly how STIs work.
I hate... That's not how STIs work. Hang on. Do we... Hellbent, you probably followed this a little bit. Was there any documentation? Was there any documentation accompanying this? No. Okay. I don't know if Noah Sampson was under the impression that it was just nobody knew. That's actually a reasonable expectation. If it is known, for example, that this person is in a poly relationship or is sleeping with like other, you know, friend with benefits type people, if that is known, or if that is like a part of a stable situation, it's actually possibly a reasonable expectation that what is of concern are new variables, right? So that's actually kind of important. If there's no documentation clarifying this, I don't know what kind of conversation they had beforehand. I don't know I don't know if he informed her of other people he was seeing. Not in the video. Does it exist anywhere else, Hellbent? Like there wasn't anything published anywhere? Documentation of disease tests? No, I'm looking for documentation of they had a conversation about this on like DMs or something. Or on Messenger or something that like where they go over the parameters of their relationship. Someone claimed on Instagram that they were the caller and it was a ruse to prove H3H3 would air any dirt without proof, but Ethan reposted it saying nice try, we confirmed their identity. Really? Oh, so they pretended like the prank caller was actually just the real thing? Is that what they did? She said earlier the language she used and it was deeply vague. It was deeply vague, and more to the point, I don't have documentation for this, so it could be precise. And the problem I have here is this is being weaponized by Spooky Dude over here. And I need more. Now, leaving this aside, I'm saying they claimed they were the woman calling and that was false. No, I understand that. What I'm saying is, like, did H3 still eat it up and then pretend it was true? Because that seemed to be the implication of what you were saying.
Work, and that even though you might trust them, like, are they hooking up with people? He said, yeah, but it's the same deal. Like, they are, you know, people that they trust as well. I'm like, well, I don't know those people. I don't trust them. And now you're putting me at risk.
That is...
Ethan claimed they verified her identity. That is funny. That is funny. What a wild world we're in. I like Bad Empanada more than H3. That's a difference from last year. That's a crazy difference from last year.
He does know. He's just playing dumb.
I trust Bad Empanada more than H3. That's a wild change of pace. That is actually unreal when you think about it. Bad Empanada has made videos about me calling me personally a Nazi. I trust Bad Empanada more than H3. That is a statement.
Like, he knows. Mr. Feminist Studies knows that you're not supposed to have unprotected sex with multiple people without telling the other one. Or explicit.
But we haven't actually determined that he hasn't told people or that he had unprotected sex. We didn't actually determine that. Now, she claims that he had unprotected sex with people he was involved with previously. But we also haven't determined that she was unaware of them or that he didn't do his due diligence in informing her. We just have her word here, which would be enough if she was approaching me privately. But this is going on to H3, weaponizing this in order to sidestep a critique from a video talking about H3's complicitness in defending the genocide of the Palestinian people in Gaza. Well, you're a grammar Nazi at Sometime Sunday? That's true.
Explicitly lying, by the way, which is what it seems like.
In fairness, Ethan does say this is not like a rape allegation at best goes against Noah's state morals. No, that is a rape allegation. It's pretty up there. If you're endangering someone bodily, in my humble opinion, This is controversial. It shouldn't be, though you're wrong. But this is my opinion. I disagree with Destiny on this. I think, for example, if you present a biological potential hazard to a sex partner, you actually have a moral obligation to God to tell them, okay? I think you have a very strong moral obligation when you represent a biohazard or are a potential vector for an STD to somebody who is not willing to risk that. You have an obligation to tell them. So, I actually care. I would characterize not telling someone you're endangering them that way as something in the ballpark of sexual assault. It's not the same as rape, obviously, in terms of its visceral violence, but it absolutely is a violation of consent. Absolutely. Isn't this a law for HIV or something? Not everywhere, but it should be. There's been a big move to I don't like this. There's been a big move to make it so that you should it's failing, obviously, but there are a lot of people who advocate for, well, if my viral load is low, I shouldn't have to inform people. It's like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What if he had all his other partners do an STI test and had one done himself? Then it's just lying. Well, it depends on whether or not he's telling the truth. But here's the thing: it doesn't matter if it's just lying, right? I don't care if you got them all tested. It doesn't matter. You're obligated to inform somebody of that situation. I think that's fair. Viral load, yeah, there are people who go on HIV suppressing medication, and it makes their viral load so low it's undetectable, and it means that they are very unlikely to transmit. It's not impossible. There's also the nature of the tests is that they, yeah. If your viral load is low, you literally can't infect people. You should be honest about your status, but that will come with making society less likely to be violent to someone POS. I think you should be informing people, period, frankly. If you have a special reason to think that informing someone of your status, of any kind of status, would make them immediately reject a sexual relation with you, and that is why you are not disclosing it, you have an ethical obligation to disclose that. Period. If you have a special reason to suspect the person in particular. I think that's fair. Basically, regardless. It doesn't matter what it is. Period. Now, there's a flip side to this, which is there are a lot of people in society who have bad prejudices against certain kinds of people and so on and so forth. But the reasons for them not consenting being unreputable or not respectable, say, is not a byway for not having to get their consent. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense to me.
Like,
Cal, you don't need. There's actually there's books of that title. You don't need to censor that stuff. Sorry, Andor.
Yeah.
he did.
I mean, there's no way to know what was really going on in his mind. But yeah, like he should have known that that was not right.
So was that somewhere near the end of the relationship after this conversation took?
I'd argue it shouldn't be illegal because that encourages people not to get tested. It's not a matter of like legality. It's not a matter of like bringing the police into it. I do think it is an ethical obligation though, which is not the same as saying I think the police should be involved. Sometimes that has perverse effects, as you just pointed out.
Took place?
Yeah, because he, like around this time too, he was, taking longer to respond and just like, oh, sorry, I've been super busy with this and that. And the last time we had seen each other was just like, I knew going into it, it was just to like put, close the book and end whatever was happening. And we went out and got food, and I was going into it to tell him like, hey, that was messed up. I do not appreciate how you treated me, which I did. But his reason for ending things with me was because he had found somebody that he had a stronger connection with, and knowing that was
Does
probably.
she know?
I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder if she knows that he's been sleeping.
Remember, I think this bears repeating. A premise of this is that he had ghosted her multiple times within a 2 to 3, not even specific dates, a 2 to 3 month long relationship. So this is like an extraordinarily casual interaction that she's having with Noah Sampson. And again, this is all verbal. This is all anecdotal. I don't have evidence of any of this. I can't see what he actually said or what was said. I have no reason to think that he wasn't being responsible here. She didn't get an STD from him. I haven't seen any evidence that he's engaged in anything particularly, anything at all, actually, frankly. I haven't seen evidence that he has engaged with other people, period. I don't have evidence of this. I just don't have evidence of this. I actually don't just I actually don't have evidence they've engaged with each other at all. I don't have evidence that this relationship ever took place. There's no documentary proof of any of this. But Ethan's smiling because he got a woman to say, this person who's accusing me of abetting a genocide is a sex creep. This is embarrassing for him, actually. For him. I don't know anything about this claim because there's nothing to back it up. And it's being fielded as a public weapon, as a weapon of attack against a person's reputation in order to sidestep an accusation.
Having unprotected sex with other people. Do the other girls know?
I don't know. I have no way of...
She was probably one of them too. When he said that
certainly,
to you,
it sounds like it.
Yeah,
she would have been.
I'm sure it felt very.
Yeah.
Just knowing that the girl he was like choosing to be with, in the end was somebody that he was probably hooking up with when he was telling me he wasn't. Kind of a shitty move.
Oh, yeah, it's gross. It's super gross. Now, again, just to make it clear, because people get very
yes.
People like to take things and run with it. You are not accusing him of committing any crimes or doing R-word or anything like that. The accusation is that he's a sleaze.
Who cares?
Absolutely. No offense.
Who cares? Who cares? I don't care. Why does it matter if he's a sleaze? What's the video about, Ethan? It's about Israel-Palestine. It's about the Israeli state using every excuse to murder thousands of civilians. The IDF dancing around in the clothes of the people who they've either killed or kicked out of their homes and put into utter destitution. And your gleeful complicitness with it. That's what the video's about. I don't care about what he puts his dick into. Why is this a relevant factor to me? Why is this a relevant factor to my appraisal of the situation?
And as far as I know, he's not a rapist. He, our relationship that we had was mostly consensual, obviously, other than the fact that I didn't know he was other people.
Yeah.
So I want to make that very clear that is not, I'm not making any allegations against him.
IDF doesn't steal people's clothes? Well, then I suppose you're going to tell me that all of the videos of IDF soldiers in full garb wearing the lingerie and dresses of houses they've bombed, from the houses they've bombed, and posting them to Instagram and TikTok, all those are staged, right? It's a big conspiracy. That's what we're running with? Okay.
I just want people to know that, people can portray themselves
You really think the IDF is going around stealing people's panties Sunday? As a matter of fact, I do.
Yeah, nothing like making a political statement like
Oops, wrong one. My apologies.
one way online, and that's not who they are, so don't trust them.
I think it's especially ironic, and I think it's especially important.
That's it, C-Space. It's all AI. You got it. He's figured it out. It's all AI. If the IDF commits a war crime or does anything bad, it's AI. It's that easy. We got him. We got him. We won.
Call out when they're not just he's not like portraying himself as.
What's wrong with the IDF? It's a heavily indoctrinated youth population that has forced compulsory military service, that has drilled into their heads day after day that they are the eternal victims of the world, and that everybody who inconveniences their country is, and especially brown Arabs, are either a threat or suitable for destruction. That's what. That's it. Heavily indoctrinated people. You would be exactly the same in their situation. Don't feel good about yourselves.
Is like, hey, I'm just a nice guy who likes people. He's like, I'm the fucking leftist feminist warrior. I care about everyone and I do the right thing and I'm the fucking man. And also go storm the go kill my enemies. He did say that, but that's probably not that cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really watch his content anymore. I don't know any of the.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's probably good.
But when it comes to like the feminist content he was making,
I was watching a shoot, what's his name? God damn it. Why can I never remember names? A Norman Finkelstein came back to me. I was watching a Norman Finkelstein exchange where he was being challenged at a talk about avowing support for the Houthis. And he said, like, despite like their like anti-Semitic slogan. And he talked about like his an anecdote with his parents, where his parents were heavily anti-German, not anti-Nazi, anti-German, because of their experiences with the Nazis. They blamed all Germans. And you have to like, I think you have to like universalize that, because that also goes to Israelis who are also like fed propaganda too. Like, this is just how people work. People are formed by their environment, and their environment can be trauma, or it can be a series of constructed institutions that conduce to the molding of a personality in a particular way. That's it. You're here where you are with the opinions you have because of chance encounters that you had that were made more or less likely based on your environment. That's it. So, as soon as you are in a place where you are characterizing someone as essentially good or bad, based on them choosing to be good or bad, as if that's the thing, including IDF soldiers, including people in Hamas, including civilians, anywhere. They can be Germans, they can be Jews, they can be Arabs, they can even look like me, believe it or not. You're ignoring the fact that while you make decisions in the world, you don't decide the things that make you make the decisions that you do. Other things do that. We know this because I've taken you out of the equation. There are things deciding the decisions that you make. You're obviously not sitting behind there at a higher level deciding those decisions that you make. That doesn't make any sense. You have particular inputs. You have particular inputs in the past. Stuff swirls around you. It slows down a little bit, and decisions can be characteristically yours based on the level of input that your organizational structure has on the output. But fundamentally, it all boils back down to things happen before that constitute you in a particular way as the kind of thing that does particular things. That's it. And freedom, quote unquote, takes place on the plane of what is characteristic of the thing. And that's it. And there are people who postulate that mind or soul or whatever, or the part of you that is quote unquote you, the part of you that has like energy and existence in the world, that isn't just like the computation of your brain or the mechanics of your body, that exceeds your body and so on and so forth. But it doesn't matter, because when we're talking about decisions and choices in the world, you're talking about that which is on the other side of that. And that is determined by past events. So, yeah. Nasty thing to do. But also they were made that way. It's not their fault. These are young people who don't know what they're doing.
Making the, anti-manosphere, that kind of thing, it is not an accurate display of who he really is.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if he's hypocritical on something like that, I think is worth pointing out. And again,
I don't care about calling in. Well, if you don't call in, then I ban trolls. I allow trolls to call in, but I don't let them waste time in chat. Unless they super chat. If they donate through Stream Elements, I allow them to stay, but I do not allow them to stay for free.
This is you felt like over
Howard's pay.
Time, it sounds like you realized like that was really fucked up. And now that you see him out there, I think it's important that that women are aware that this guy needs to be handled a little bit.
I'll call another day. I got plans. Well, you don't got plans here. Whoop, you're gone.
Differently, if you are sleeping with him, and it's your story to tell. This is something that happened to you. Somebody did something wrong to you.
They're always busy. They're always busy. They're always at work. Bunch of hardworking people. They're just too hardworking to call in. Too busy.
And this is your story to tell, and you're telling it. God bless that. I
Thank
think
you.
it's super brave of you to do it, and I do think it's important. Again, it's
Of course you think it's important. You're trying to cast somebody who criticized you publicly as a sleazeball because you can't answer their actual accusations. This is really weak. This makes you look really stupid and pathetic.
not like our word, but like this is
Like, you know what's frustrating too is there's such an easy way to critique Noah Samson's video. I did it at the beginning of this stream. Hey, Noah Samson, why are you relying upon nationalistic sources in Israel to back up the claim that Israel is unreachable and there is no resistance in Israel, there is no political resistance to the actions of the IDF and to the current administration, when they have a particular outwardly expressed political interest in making you think that, in making other people think that? Why would you assume that's true? That's really shoddy work. That's my issue with Noah Samson's video. I think it serves a bad purpose. Yeah, it draws attention to the issue, which everyone is already aware of. But it also, the main novelty of it is it convinces a bunch of people that the political battle in Israel is over. Everyone already agrees. Which may be true, but he establishes that on the basis of shoddy and slanted information. Which is a problem, because if it's not true, if, for example, 10, 15, 20% of Israelis are not enthusiastic supporters of what Israel is doing, or maybe more, because the studies are shoddy that they did, they're terrible, then what he's actually doing is reinforcing the propagandistic narrative that those organizations are engaging in for the sake of encouraging further genocidal action by the Israeli state. You are becoming a pawn of the IDF by doing so. Noah, you really should think this through a little bit harder.
this affects people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will say, I think at the time, I, again, was just getting out of a toxic relationship and just didn't have a good grasp on healthy relationships at the time. And so as I've kind of, grown up a little bit and done some processing, I realized, like, I tried I don't know, I was trying to be so cool about it when I didn't have to be.
Yeah.
I think I had every reason to be upset. And yeah, it was just not a great situation. But things are better now, so that's good.
Well, I'm glad everything's going good for you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that makes a lot of sense, by the way. That, like, in the moment when you guys are together, I mean, you said you guys were in bed together, that you're like, oh, okay, you try to be cool about it. But, like, as time goes on, and again, you both are pretty young. I know he's like in his mid-20s, so if you're a few years younger than him, and this was a few years ago, you were pretty young. Age, to be clear.
I was 21, turning 22. So
Okay, so you're an adult. You're an adult. He was what, 24? You're a grown-up. I don't want to hear your age. You're a grown-up. This is not pertinent information. Why are you trying to characterize him as a pedophile now? You're in the same age range. Like, what? Isn't the age range between Ethan and his wife 2 years? It's a 2-year difference. That's irrelevant.
Okay, so yeah. So I mean, like, at that age, there's still a lot of maturing to do, and
You can vote. You can own a gun. You can drive a car. You're an adult. What?
I've been in situations like that in my life where I feel like
21-year-old minor.
after a few years of thinking about it, I'm like, damn, that was really fucked up the way that this person was treating me. It's completely normal, It's not odd at all to feel that after the fact.
Literally no evidence of any of this, by the way.
yeah, I think that there's going to
Literally no evidence of any of this or who this person is.
be some questions, though, about, like, why
Has Noah Samson responded to any of this? Do we have any, like, confirmation incidentally to any of this?
nothing was said sooner. And I think it's just one
Like,
of
this is pathetic. This is just genuinely pathetic.
situations that, as time goes on, you realize the situation for what it really was.
And so, are you an audience member of the show? Like, how did it come up that you reached out to us?
Yeah, I am. I view every podcast, every show. So I'm actually.
Legend.
Yeah. Thank you. Me and my sister actually walked, and we don't live nearby each other, so this is a way that we're able to bond and talk about something. So thanks for giving a reason for me and my sister to talk often. Hey, girlie, she's watching right now too.
Hi, girl. We love you. You're a
Me
great
too.
sister, bigger sister.
He doesn't love you. He hates you, and he's eating you publicly. He's exposing you to public scrutiny so that you can be attacked and ridiculed by millions of strangers on the internet so that he can get a cheap rhetorical blow against a YouTuber who disagreed with him politically. This is what I like to call a pedophile of the soul. This is someone who seeks out people much younger than him, much more malleable than him, in order to give himself social advantage or to feel important and strong.
Yeah, older sister.
You're doing a great job out there.
Beg your pardon, sorry. She's 21. A phebophile of the soul.
So,
So what?
So yeah,
So
you
what, Ethan? So what?
reached out. We saw you in chat. You reached out, and I think Olivia saw
Hey, did you confirm her identity, doll?
you.
Did you confirm anything?
It was like a message in chat, and then we reached out.
Yeah.
We talked everything, and we're like, okay, this girl's legit. And
How'd you determine she was legit? How? What do you mean? We talked, she's legit. How do you know? I haven't heard any identifying details in this conversation. I haven't heard any information that verifies it. I have the vaguest of timelines. I don't know when this was. All I know is it was maybe 2 months, maybe 3, and he ghosted me for large parts of it. I don't know if in this entire interaction, if Noah Samson even knew who you were. I don't know anything about this.
that was basically all there is to it. You didn't wait that long, by the way. How long's it been? A couple of years?
It's also never
Yeah.
your responsibility to tell your story when you're not ready.
Thank you. It's very profound.
Right.
Never.
I mean,
Yeah.
it didn't come up until recently. Like, I saw you guys started to post.
I wasn't ready until a very, very big YouTuber pulling in millions of dollars suddenly had a beef with this person. And then all of a sudden, this incredibly vague, incredibly undocumented negative experience years ago becomes really pertinent, despite the fact that it has nothing whatsoever to do with the actual nature of the conflict. Okay.
About him or talk about him, and I was like, oh, that's really weird. That's,
Mhm.
You know.
Mhm.
And then once
Like,
it
this
was in-
person is anonymous. I don't even know this person's name. I have nothing to go off of here. There is nothing here. This is embarrassing. This is the kind of thing that you go, okay, look, I'm sorry that this happened to you when they reach out. I cannot air this. I don't know enough. And just so you were aware, you have to be very careful with doing this in a public venue like this, because there are a lot of people who A-log my channel and will hound people who come on and do things like this. Like, for example, Bad Empanada, right? Like, for example, Noah Samson, who apparently is a massive creep. Why would you be exposing someone to a massive creep's massive audience? That doesn't seem like a wise decision. With no information, nothing to verify it, nothing to establish it, nothing criminal being accused of. Like, what's the point? So just to be clear, lady, Ethan hates you, whoever you are, whether you're telling the truth or not. I'm inclined to believe you're telling the truth, to the extent that you can with as little information as you gave. But he hates you. He doesn't like you. He doesn't care about you. If your career or reputation was destroyed as a result of this, he would lose no sleep over it. He wouldn't care, unless he could spin it around as being something absolving him for being creepy himself towards other people. Like this one.
Showing off that camel hoof.
Just to reiterate here, what he thinks.
That's Ethan. This is good feminist Ethan Klein.
17-year-old girl.
We don't know he's 17.
Anyway, ignoring the camel fucking that fat, juicy, juvenile vagina.
Okay. Never mind. Maybe he does. Maybe he does think she's underage. Ugh, I hate these people so much. Look, she was 18 in the photo? Yeah, okay. Listen, if you ever find yourself saying the words in succession, juvenile and vagina, while salivating on screen, even as a joke, it's time to stop. Just just log off. Go outside. Get some fresh air, okay? Just don't. Just don't. Just no. No. That's part of what made him a millionaire Sunday? Yes. Well, a few people became millionaires doing that. What is this? These Noah Samson allegations are bad.
Yes, it is very
This is Chud Logic's coverage of it. What is this? Does he have some information that I don't have?
boring to just, oh, well, Noah Samson did some wrong stuff. So what, bro? What do I care about that, right? The best criticism in all of this, for me, is that Noah's not who he presents himself as.
Do the other girls know?
Okay, I don't care about this. So there's nothing there. So the allegations are bad, as in the quality of the allegations are bad, not the allegations themselves are serious, because they're not. Diabolical titling, though. Okay, so Noah Samson, retract or lawyer up. This is from today. Lawyer up for criticizing me, a public figure, for my political positions. By the way, I just pulled on some rando to insinuate that you're a sex creep, and I called you that. Noah Samson has a better case against Ethan Klein for defamation than Ethan Klein has against Noah Samson. Where is this? Where is it? A message from my lawyer. What? Intro to demand for correction. Okay, here we go.
We are...
You're looking grisly, dude.
Let the...
What is he on? Oh, that's
games
rough.
begin.
He just looks so unwell.
Let the games begin.
Let the chess pieces are laid on the board.
Beating his cash. So does Noah Samson. I think he'd be supported by Hassan if it came to it as well. Yeah, Noah Samson could fight this.
The players are on.
It's not the UK, okay? Like there are it's defamation cases are not easy in the States.
Stage. It's showtime.
It's a game or a play?
It's both. But the point is that it's ready to start. The play, the set is the stage is set. The game is set also.
I'm the first Jew on stage.
Oh yeah, Kev says he's the first Jew on stage in Texas.
Good man.
What an insanely stupid thing. What an idiot. Whoa. Oh, let me see that one. Okay, we fucked with that.
That one's fucking sick.
Where is that? Is that over here?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
You won't be able to find
there
it.
it is. That's okay. We like that. That's crazy.
Really good.
It's in the chair. It's under the chair. Okay. Yeah. Today, I'm announcing that Noah Samson it was Wednesday night, was on the receiving end of a demand for retraction.
Today's Wednesday.
Monday, I mean.
We wrote a sternly worded letter. You will never recover.
I thought it was Monday today.
Retake.
Okay, let me start over. The set, the stage is set.
I thought we were.
Oh my God, man! Get to the point. You're not that funny. Stop talking.
For retraction to Noah Samson Monday night after the show.
Commuted to her.
In this letter, which I will read after the break, we highlight.
We wrote a letter. That's the story. We wrote a letter. Doesn't matter. Who cares? Okay. Do you know how legally binding a letter of a demand for retraction is? It's not. It's not. It may precipitate a lawsuit, so you can go, hey, look, we sent a letter demanding this and they didn't do it. It doesn't matter. This is going to get thrown. This doesn't matter. It's going to get thrown out.
The defamatory statements, and explain in great detail why they're defamatory. All he has to do to avoid getting sued is apologize for everything he said and did, admit he was either lying or ignorant.
Yeah, so you don't like that somebody called you out for being a opportunistic sleazeball who was running cover for babies getting shot in the head and aid workers getting massacred. We're going to ignore all of the innocent women and children who are massacred as well. They don't count in this world. These are the ones you should be caring about. The white ones, in some cases. You are now attempting to intimidate people from criticizing you for this with both slander and lawsuits. This is pathetic. This is just pathetic. This is what the liberals are in 2025. Exactly like Trump, but failures and somehow grosser. That's where we're at. Literally, that's what the last election was. Kamala Harris. I will continue to support Israel by sending them unfathomable sums of money that could lift all of you out of poverty to kill more children. Boo. Trump. I'll do it more. Yay. From both the right and the left. That's where we're at.
And erase the video and also disgrace, like, and just accept the disgrace that is basically lying.
I know he's going to crowdsource randos to say Sunday made them sad once. I hope I made them sad more than once.
About two people being pro-genocide.
In fact, if I only made them sad once, I didn't do my job.
One of the most twisted, fucked up things you can accuse someone of. And so, the ball is now in your court, sir. You have 20 days from the moment you received it to respond.
Or what?
Otherwise,
or what?
This piece is being moved to the next piece on the board.
You're going to write a Reuter letter?
And
Space.
So what?
The piece would be moved to a different space, not to another piece.
The piece would be moved
to a different board. You said a different board, you idiot.
To the next piece on the board. And
Space.
So what?
Oh, it would be moved to the next piece. Oh, that's weird.
The piece would be moved to a different space, not to another piece.
The piece would be moving to another space on the board.
Well, actually, if you're promoting a piece, then it would be moving to another piece. So there, shut up.
We'll be advancing the
checkers.
Battle plans.
I want to play a game.
We'll be announcing battle plans. You will. Do you know what a letter is? It's like it's less than a YouTube video because nobody's reading that shit. This is so irrelevant.
Now Noah, you want to play a game? Yo, it's funny. You guys. I said I wasn't playing around when the CPS thing came. I said I'm not playing.
CPS thing? What's the CPS thing? Oh, he had a Child Protective Services call on him. I forgot about that. Apparently because his kids got sick from something found in dog poop or something.
Whatever.
Don't involve people's kids and shit, guys. Just don't do it. Don't do it. It's never good. Never works out in your favor.
Whatever you thought was going to happen, however you thought this was going to go, it's no longer going like that.
What happened should have happened.
Is there any documentation of the CPS thing? I mean, George will claim it anyways. The problem with Bad Empanada is that even if he doesn't do something, he'll claim that he did it to get the notoriety from it. So, that's it.
And Noah, you are the first of many, several, to be feeling what it means for me to be totally unhinged. Although legally and morally correct as well. That's
really legally correct. Okay, well then, why are you sending a sternly worded letter? Go to next steps. Just sue him. You sent the letter. Why 20 days? You sent the letter already. Just assume he's not going to respond to it. So we are going to go to next steps. Get ready for the fireworks, because you're not confident, because you're scared. All of this is you being scared. Scared little boy.
That's the part that's going to be a really hard time for you, bud. So Noah's going to have to prove on paper, legally, to a judge and potentially a jury.
His body fat has retreated so much. He doesn't have eyelids anymore. Like, this is like, You're looking like Smeagol, dude. Eat a burger.
Why?
Go off the go off the Ozempic. This isn't good for you. Go eat a burger. Get fat again. You were healthier.
And how?
This shit will like ruin you.
We support genocide, which will not be possible to do because all the innuendo and all the bullshit and all the fucking lying.
He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to prove it. You're a public figure. Boom. It's over. You're a public figure, dipshit. That's it. By the way, you going on stream and bringing people like Lonerbox on to say, oh, the IDF was just missing when they shot babies in the head with their sniper rifles. He's actually perfectly entitled to interpret that as you endorsing what the IDF was doing otherwise. And if he characterizes it as genocide, he's fine. Like, why do you suppose... I'm sorry, like, what's... I'm sorry. This is laughable. This is laughable. He, though, absolutely has a case. Because you brought up someone making sexual innuendos about him, unrelatedly, to hurt his reputation. You are specifically blowing up how much you've hurt his reputation in order to hurt his reputation further. So the claim that actually this hurt him will come from you. And this was purely invidious. And not based on fact. You don't have a reason to believe that. Honestly. It would still, by the way, be very difficult. It'd be very difficult for him to sue you for defamation and succeed. But it would be easier than it would be for you.
That they do, him, Hassan, fucking...
I don't think it's necessary to comment on people's meds and weight that much. I'm not his doctor. He is not on whatever he's on the advice of a doctor. You have to understand, this person, it's not a matter of his weight, okay? It's a matter of how fast, because, look. This is Ethan Klein, 2022, okay? This to this has one of two causes. Drugs or cancer. That's it. This isn't about body shaming. This is about like extraordinarily unhealthy decisions based on delusions about what a healthy body looks like. This man has like zero body fat because he's on drugs to make him not eat. And possibly other stuff. And it's blowing up his Tourette's like crazy. Like, you can tell the guy's suffering from it. It's just bad. Like, it's bad. Like, we're talking 300 pounds to 150 pounds. Probably. Like that. That's going to fuck you up long term. That's not healthy. It's not a good precedent. It's just not good. It's not. I don't like that people are doing this. This is dangerous. This isn't a healthy way to. Health is not being skinny. Health is your body working well. And for different people, that looks different. There are people who are quote unquote fat who are relatively healthy compared to people who are very thin. Very much so. There are people who are skinny who have tremendous visceral fat that will kill them in the exact same way that a morbidly obese person, sort of externally with like, you know, very large whatever, will have like potential like serious health consequences from that. It's not about shape or appearance. It has to do with whether or not this is something that actually represents your body's functioning, or whether this is something that is caused by extreme interventions from the outside, right? We should talk about it with more compassion. We should talk about... You also don't need to be compassionate towards Ethan Klein. He'll be fine. He'll be okay. Don't worry, okay? He'll dry his tears with his millions of dollars. Don't worry.
George, that dude that lives in a cockroach-infested corner of Argentina, that
reminds me of Not So Erudite living in a termite-infested house in California.
Mama's boy that fucking hides in a dark corner of Argentina, thinks he's untouchable. Guess what, George? You're not untouchable either. And when I'm done with these fuckers, I'm putting my full attention on you, bitch.
sorry. I am the danger.
Okay?
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Y'all went too far. When I'm done with Noah, when I'm done with the other one, the big one that's dropping probably next week, my full
is there a big
attention
one? Is there a big one dropping next week? Are you doing another nuke, Ethan? Hassan never recovered. You're gonna do a nuke, Ethan? Is that it?
is going to you, George, like the Eye of Sauron. I see you. I see you out there, you fucking cockroach.
Sauron only sees the ring when the ring's being worn, just so you know.
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
And I know your whole thing. You act tough. You're like, oh, I do.
Which means George is a hobbit.
Psyops, and I'll mail you shit, and I'll fucking, I don't, yeah, you're full of shit, bro. You're not gonna do shit. And I'll tell you who's gonna do shit. Me. I'm coming.
Why is it taking you so long? He's been on your case for years. Why now? What changed?
Okay? So you're not safe either. Just wait. Keep talking that shit.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna do an international lawsuit? This man was mean to me on the internet? That's what you're okay. Do it. Let's see. Why wait? You're a millionaire. Why wait? Do it now. Do them all now. Do them all at once. Sweep them. Every last one of them. What are you scared of? Well, we know why. It's because you know that if Noah Samson ignores your letter, you'll do nothing, because you can do nothing. You can do nothing. You're gonna sue George for defamation in Argentina? That's what you're gonna do? You can't even get him off YouTube.
And, you know, we'll find out. We're going to read the letter together. And Mudahar is going to also call in here at 1. So... Mudahar, as I like to call him.
Mudahar. You have to understand. Noah Samson interfered with Mudahar's business.
Yeah, I mean, if I was Noah and I read this letter, I would be shitting my pants.
By the look of you, you'd be shitting your pants generally, though, so that's probably true, but not the statement you think it is.
This is no joke. This letter is extraordinarily well reasoned. It's extraordinarily well sourced. And
I'm sorry, I just can't. Can we take a brief digression? I know I've read this already on stream. This is Mudahar, a response to defamatory claims. In the last couple of weeks, a YouTuber, Noah Samson. Did he misspell Noah Samson? He got his name wrong? Yeah, it's with an E, doofus. You didn't get the name of the guy you're talking about right. In the last couple of weeks, a YouTuber, Noah Samson, has uploaded a few videos labeling me as a genocide supporter in the title and thumbnail of the video. Today, me and the team, sat down to watch them and could not find a single clip of me supporting the Israeli government or any of its genocidal practice. Wait. In his videos? So what? Normally, I'd not engage with this discourse, but this has affected my business and has bleed into my personal life. It's comical. It's comical. Like, these people are a joke.
it is not hyperbolic at all, in fact. So Noah said in his second video, Ethan's threatening to sue me. Have fun with that, I guess. He said, well, I'm about to have fun with it. And unfortunately, I don't think you're going to be having much fun with it.
All right. Okay. Hey, you know what you don't do when you're suing someone, by the way? You don't make a big public spectacle of it so that if, for example, nothing goes forward, you can be laughed at afterwards. And or so you don't say anything that the other side can use as ammunition against you. So as soon as somebody, by the way, starts going onto YouTube bragging about, we're taking them to court, and here's why, and here's all the ways they're a stinky, stupid poopy head, you know that they're not talking to lawyers. You know they're just being incredibly stupid, and they're coping for the fact that they actually can't respond to the actual accusations publicly. It's fascist tactics by a person without the power of a fascist party in power, which just makes it nakedly pathetic and embarrassing. It's just embarrassing.
Okay. Not so fun. Oh, he went private? He went private on Instagram? Why? He can't stand any of this heat? Noah went private on Insta? The guy who went on his YouTube.
By the way, if you're ever called out publicly for something, never go private. If you can't handle looking at messages, toxic messages towards you, put it on ignore, put your phone down, do not go private. That will be taken as an admission of guilt or weakness or whatever, and you will get harassed for it further. Everybody thinks that going private is a protective measure. It is not. It is a mistake. It's a mistake. And yeah, his massive fandom brigaded him. Probably because he told them to on Instagram, if I had to guess. Because that's what Ethan Klein does. When Ethan Klein can't respond to people because he's an extreme coward, he posts to Instagram. Why? Because you can't get called out on Instagram as easily as you can on Twitter. That's why. Like, he's pathetic. This is pathetic. This is a pathetic and cowardly display. You said I support genocide? Well, I'll sue you! Okay, do it. Let's see. Let's watch. This will be great this will be great television, as a famous man recently said.
YouTube channel and brazenly said that I'm pro-genocide, can't handle a few comments on Instagram? What's going on here, Noah? What is going on here, dude?
H3H3 sending out a cease and desist letter to a creator for upsetting them after the lawsuit they spent years fighting is painful. Yeah, it's pathetic. It is actually pathetic. Reminding us, by the way, that the biggest detriment that we have any control over to the resistance to Trumpism and tyranny in our countries are the grifting, pathetic pseudo-leftists and pseudo-progressives and pseudo-liberals who are living as complicit agents of that system and keeping everybody else from rising and having any sort of influence. You know what you could do, though, Ethan? If you didn't want people to call you pro-genocide, you could not constantly run defense for the actions of the IDF as they murder thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of children and then wear their clothes. You know?
You know.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, he's scared shitless. He is.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. What has Noah Samson published anything recently? Actually, oh, I'm looking here. This is H3 Podcast. Losers. Another 10,000 down. Nice. Nice. I'm sure he is quaking in his boots.
And, you know, I'll say this, despite all this sweeping that the entire left community has done for Noah, after we spoke to his ex-lover, not his ex-girlfriend, but his ex-hookup partner, Noah,
with no proof,
at least is the only...
How'd you establish that was his ex? I haven't seen proof it's his ex. That's someone you put up to do that, for all I know. I don't know anything about this person.
One who hasn't said anything about it and who hasn't tried to make excuses or sweep. So, I mean...
Nobody needs to. It has no bearing whatsoever in the accusation against you. Noah Samson could be a rapist, and his accusation of you being pro-genocide would still hit. Dead center of the mark. That's how bad it is. That's how pathetic this is.
But it's incredible seeing the left show their ass so hard. How everybody's just all of a sudden like, oh, so much. You'll go on the left.
I'm sorry, sir. Just to be clear. You're sending a cease and desist letter for someone criticizing you publicly, but the left is showing its ass when your response to him calling you a genocide, well, you being pro-genocide, which, let's be clear, you very much are. I'm sorry. It just how do you show your face in public and do this? This is pathetic. Like this isn't serious. You're not serious. Nobody's taking you seriously. Like this is embarrassing for you.
Haas Twitter, whatever the fuck, and this is what they're saying. Wow, Ethan, congratulations. You proved that Noah's a dude who has normal sexual relations. I'm like, okay, let's.
Okay. But what about you, Ethan?
Nigga wants to fuck that shit, boy.
Yeah, that's you, Ethan. That's you, Ethan. You see a bombing victim wearing a crop top, and your immediate comment is to talk about their juvenile vagina. That's a quote, by the way.
18-year-old girl.
Yeah. Anyway, ignoring the camel fucking that fat juicy.
I'm not going to watch that again. We're going to keep going.
Remember you said that. Haas Twitter.
Remember you said that, Ethan.
Let's fucking...
That's you forever.
Let's just... I mean, y'all, I barely even have to do anything to expose you guys.
He also says the N-word scene clip. Yeah, that's why I'm not doing it again. That's weirdly like the least problematic part of that, to be honest. It's like... like, of everything in that clip, that's so low on my issues. But still, it's like, wow, you're an idiot. You have no self-control or discipline, and you're juvenile. You're juvenile and stupid.
But now you're on a ride. Now we're on this ride together.
I hate that little winky down. Or it's ride together. Because it wasn't a wink, it was just a twitch.
Right? Like we're all gonna ride together now. This is Willy Wonka's boat ride, motherfuckers. Okay?
There's no
and I'm doing
it's a game, a ride, and a play.
It's everything and more.
Okay. Just trying to keep up.
I'm gonna have Dan like tiptoes, like on his fucking knees, doing the rowing in the back.
A speck of light is showing. The
Yeah.
danger must be growing.
Willy Wonka's boat ride. You're in the back on your knees.
I see what you're going for.
Yeah, shoes on your
Fires
knees.
of hell are glowing. Is
In the role of a
grizzly
lifetime?
reaper mowing? Yes.
The
The danger must be growing.
This
For
is
the
all very
rowers
fun
keep
stuff,
on
here, guys.
rowing.
We're going to thank
they're
our sponsor, and
certainly
then I'm just
not
going to read
showing.
this whole letter. And you guys can
I didn't build
see
it up,
and
I
enjoy
can't
just
scream.
how screwed our dear, wonderful, brave friend.
They screwed his dear, brave friend.
Who proudly and loudly accuses people of being pro-genocide.
Maybe you're pro-genocide. Why are you such a bitch about it?
But privates his Instagram feed.
Did he private his videos? No? Okay, so maybe you're harassing him on Instagram. Maybe you harassing him on Instagram and he didn't want to be harassed on Instagram. Has he taken his videos down? No? See, if he was scared of you, he would take his video down. I'm given to understand it's demonetized. He would take his video down. And he'd let somebody else publish it. And it would still be out there, but he'd be off the hook. He's not scared of you. Nobody's scared of you. You're a public figure. You can be criticized. Why do you look like that?
When the kitchen gets too hot. And yes, now we're in a kitchen. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we can do it a little early. Thank you to our sponsor, Sundays for Doggies.
Hey, that's me.
Sundays for Dogs.
No, it's not. Sundays for cats. I'm a cat person.
Sundays for Dogs.
I respect dogs and I like them, but I like cats more.
It's going to revolutionize the way that you feed your dogs. Now, I don't know if y'all have picky eaters.
I don't care. Okay, guys, we're going to the new channel. Make sure you subscribe. We need to get to 3,000 watch hours, and I've been told we're not there yet. And I'm going to be very careful. I want to get a second opinion on this from somebody outside of this if that's possible. But I've spoken to 4 people on YouTube creator support who have insisted that I can monetize a second channel. So we're going to try. I'm going to raid into my own channel, and we're going to go there. And we're going to get into the smart stuff. This is for you nerds, alright? I'll be with you in 5 minutes. Make sure you like and subscribe. I want to see 55 more subs when we get there, okay? Let's go.